Hello, I'm CinematicCritic, and now that I have done my 25-minute long analysis review, it's time for the shorter, well, hopefully shorter, official CinematicCritic review, the one that is live broadcasted to Facebook and will also be uploaded to YouTube. And if you do want the longer analysis, then you can go ahead and go to YouTube and watch the 25-minute long one. So I'm not going to be talking about the actors anymore, but what I will talk about quickly before we get into the plot and the characters are the special effects. I really didn't like the looks of Rita in this movie, Rita being the bad guy, well, the bad girl that comes back from, well, I'll have to explain that in the plot, but I really didn't like the look of the villainess in this. Don't even get me started on Goldar. Oh. Basically, nothing looks like it did in the original 1990s or late 80s, I think it was in Japan, show. No, seriously, I learned like they used footage from the original Japanese show and just added a few scenes with American actors in it. That was their way of bringing the show over here to the US. And now we're making seasons of it still today with all American actors, and one interesting thing is they did kind of try to bring that aspect back by bringing in at least one Asian actor into this film. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The special effects were, well, I didn't love Goldar. Well, I didn't love the villains. I did like the kind of like modern twist they gave to the Power Ranger suits, and when it came in, the Megazord looked like one of the Pacific Rim suits from the Pacific Rim movie a couple of years ago. Megazord looked like that, and I actually thought that actually made it look really cool. Go see the movie just for the last 20 minutes, and it really is the last 20-25 minutes of this film that makes it, which is a good thing too, because the beginning, well, let's get started on plot and characters. So the movie actually kicks off in the something era with the dinosaurs, where it's revealed that Zordon lives and he's fighting this evil named Rita. That's really it. That's her name, and she is a Power Ranger herself, but she has betrayed them. Well, this is a whole new twist that wasn't in the original show, at least not to my knowledge. I only did watch the first 3 seasons, and I watched them every now and again. The only full arc that I actually ever watched was the green one, but my brother, he loved the show, so I would catch an episode here or there. My brother was in love with a pink Power Ranger. That might not have come out loud enough. My brother was in love with the pink Power Ranger. Me personally, I always liked the yellow more, but hey, what are you gonna do? Pink was my brother's favorite color. Maybe that was why. But anyway, what about the Power Rangers in this film? Seriously? This is how they're going to do the Power Rangers in this film? I get that as a movie, as a single movie, that these characters have got to be introduced and they've got to go through a journey and they've got to be challenged, but did you have to make the characters such a-holes? No, really. The teens are a-holes. They're troubled teens. The guy who will be the Red Ranger, for example, was a football star, and yet the movie opens, and we don't learn that for the first few minutes, because the movie actually, his scenes start with him kidnapping, I guess, a mascot, because he brings a live cow into his locker room, the locker room for school. And okay, and of course he gets caught, and then he gets sent to detention on Saturdays for the rest of the school year, I think they say. His father clearly disapproves of him. Oh no, it's going to be one of the father-son things. Well, you would think that, but not really. Because, spoiler alert, that's never solved. In the end, the son is just proud of his son. And since the father doesn't know the son is the Red Ranger in the end of the film, why? The same could be said for all of the Rangers' stories. Everything just goes... this was one of my biggest problems with the movie. All of these characters start out with such a troubled life, and at the end, their life is just perfect now. Because they are the Power Rangers, here to save the world. And yet no one knows that they are the Power Rangers. And yet everyone treats them like heroes now, even though they don't know that they are the heroes. Everyone treats them good. They get good lives. I mean, for all I know, they could be out of the year-long detention they were supposed to get. But that's the beginning and the end. So why is this actually getting a 3.5 as opposed to an average 3 or less? I'll tell you why. Because while it's not like the original Power Rangers seasons, or probably not like any of the ones that are airing right now, I can appreciate that. And I'm judging this as its own standalone movie. So moving ahead with the plot. Basically, in this detention area, the guy who's going to be the Red Ranger finds out that the guy who's going to be the Blue Ranger is in there as well, and is being picked on, and the guy who's going to be the Red Ranger says to the bully, stop picking on him. Okay, I can go with that. I like to see this guy who's sort of been built up as a troubled teen sticking out for another troubled teen. Much more because this troubled teen is revealed to be, as he says, on the spectrum. Now, if you don't know what that means, because they don't clarify it, on the spectrum basically means he's autistic. Maybe not full-on autism, but he could have something like I do. So I had a personal relation here. Asperger's syndrome, which makes it hard to focus for us sometimes. And they actually even go so far as to show moments like that in the film, where the Blue Ranger is unfocused. Now there's some character depth that I didn't expect to see in here. So the Blue Ranger makes him do a favor, the Red Ranger do a favor, and in return the Red Ranger gets he's being monitored, because I guess he was, for taking the cow, he was taken off the football team. He's got a tracker on his leg, and the Blue Ranger takes the tracker off of him so he doesn't have his 7 p.m. curfew. And he never gets any consequences for that. Okay, I'm putting off belief again. Did I mention that we don't see Zordon or the power ship until 30 minutes in? It's another long act 1. So they go up to this area, this site where they're digging for gold, and where everyone else is digging for gold, but he wants to do something else. He wants to find these... I don't know what the Blue Ranger wants to find, but he ends up finding these 5 power crystals. So, obviously, these are the 5 power crystals that are going to turn 5 people into 5 Power Rangers. And while they're up there, they meet 3 other kids. The Asian kid is up there. And the 2 girls are up there as well. And they all come over to see what's going on, and giant explosion, and it looks like everyone's dead. But of course they can't do that because it's only 30 minutes into the movie. Instead, all the kids wake up at home, and they are super strong. I mean, the Red Ranger breaks his sink trying to get up. He actually breaks his sink somehow. Okay, the Blue Ranger finds that while he's still having trouble focusing, amazingly enough, I'm surprised it didn't help him there. He's super strong as well, and all of them see in different ways. All see that they're different now, that they're super strong. They've got senses that are amazing, and they all gather back where they found these crystals and see like they can make giant leaps. I mean, in the original show, the Power Rangers were strong and agile and stuff, but I don't think they could leap a giant canyon, which is exactly what they do here. And then the Blue Ranger tries to leap and fails, of course. He's going to be the butt of everyone's joke. But he's also going to be the one with a heart. Ask me, he should have been the leader. So he ends up falling into this gorge, and then he shouts out to everyone, "Hey, I'm okay!" And all the other 4 Rangers jump down into the gorge that they were trying not to jump down into. It's water. They swim up out of the water, and they realize, it's a ship. Finally, 40 minutes in, we get to see Zordon. Zordon's an a-hole. Oh my god. Look, I've seen enough Power Ranger episodes to know that's not who Zordon could be. I've even seen the movie with Ivan Ooze as the villain. I know Zordon is wicked nice, and he's a guy, and he's guidance, great guidance. He's a great guide. Not in this. He's like, "These are the Rangers you brought me." We do finally see Alpha 5, and Alpha 5 is actually, he does match his character, although he only says "ay" once. Yeah, they got throwbacks like that to the original series, but not too many. I mean, they even only play the Power Rangers theme, the Go-Go Power Rangers, for 15 seconds, if that, when the Power Rangers go riding into the final battle, and that's it. And even then, it's like a rock version. I don't mind it being a rock version. I like reversion songs, but play it for longer than 15 seconds, please. So the Rangers have to go through training. And it's at this point where there's finally some real character development. We get this mystery girl starts revealing her past, and I won't spoil that. And she's the Yellow Ranger. She's going to be the Yellow Ranger. We got this other girl who's like the hottie. She's going to be the Pink Ranger. I mean, that's why my brother was in love with her. We got the guy we got the guy with like the wonderful heart. The guy I mentioned was on the spectrum. With the blue, will be the Blue Ranger. We got the Asian guy who, I'm sorry, that's all I can, that's how I see him. And that's actually kind of a critic too, that they actually have a diverse cast. I mean, one of the actors is African American too. Anyway, Asian guy is going to be the Black Ranger, and, well, the white guy, of course, is going to be the leader. That could have probably been flipped up a little bit, but he is sort of, I think what they're more going for is he is the standard, what you would expect a troubled teen to be. That's more what they were going for, and he has to turn his troubled teen life into one that is actually not troubled, and has to lead this team now. He has to, as a misfit himself, he has to lead this team of misfits. And there actually comes a point where he gets in a fight with the Asian person, and they... Yeah, I'm not going for names here. So the Red Ranger gets in fight with the Blue Ranger, with the Black Ranger, and the Blue Ranger steps in and activates his armor for the first time. Yay, hooray, except he didn't know how he did it. It's your heart. It's your stinking heart. It's gotta be. But Zordon tells them to get out. Are you not supposed to be a guide, Zordon? So they decide to camp up on the hill anyway, on the mountain anyway, and they camp up there and they tell secrets about themselves to try to get to know each other. Finally, their relationships are starting to be sewn back together, and Red Ranger finds out a secret. And I'm pretty sure this was not in the original show. Zordon only wants the 5 of them to come together so he can use their power to resurrect his life. But Rita comes onto the scene. So Rita is the bad guy, and she has shown up a couple of times in this by this point. Each time just gathering gold to build Goldar. And we'll get to that in a minute. So she's building Goldar, and she's collecting gold. She was rescued. Everyone thought she was dead, but she wasn't dead. Well, every normal human thought she was dead when she was caught up in a fishing net that, ironically enough, is run by the Red Ranger's father. Oh boy, the father is your standard, you know. Well, the parents in this really are just, they don't know anything parents. And man, I hate seeing that in these films. It's like they're not trying to understand. The Red Ranger's dad isn't trying to understand him. Not that the Red Ranger is that easy to understand, but anyway, stuff like that. So he owns a fishing company that ends up scooping up Rita. And Rita attacks the 5 Rangers and reveals, surprise, surprise, the Blue Ranger actually knows where this power crystal is that she's seeking. It's at a, ready? Not product placement. I don't think that my dad has one. Does he? No. So, product placement here? It's at a Krispy Kreme donut. That's where it is. So this power crystal is at a Krispy Kreme donut shop. Yeah. Buried underneath it, apparently. How does the Blue Ranger know this? Good question. But anyway, Rita, a question that's never answered, by the way. And the other 4 Power Rangers don't even ask that. Hell, Rita doesn't. How does Rita know that he knows? Anyway, she decides that not killing one of them would make her look weak in front of Zordon, so she kills the Blue Ranger. Yeah, go figure. So the 4 other Rangers take the Blue Ranger to Zordon, and they all come together and they say that they have to fight Rita. And with all 4 of them coming together, they activate the gate. The gate that will allow Zordon to pass through. And what do you think happens? Zordon decides to give his life for the Blue Rangers instead. I mean, I get it. That's what has to happen. That's the right thing to happen. But I just think it was kind of a whole premise, like he wanted to come back to life thing in the first place. But yes, the Blue Ranger does end up coming back to life. And the 5 of them, now that they're all perfectly together, end up morphing into the 5 Rangers and getting into these dinosaur-shaped mechs, Zords, as I should call them, that's their proper name, and going out to fight Rita and Goldar, because at this point she has collected enough gold to form Goldar. One problem. If I recall correctly, wasn't Goldar a beast that she had that was her size and not some giant monster made out of gold who can't speak? I would have rather have seen a giant version of the original Goldar than this. But anyway, we get an awesome battle in which Rita gets weaker and weaker, and just when all seems lost, she manages to defeat them. But as they all die in the flames of the abyss that they're thrown into, where the power crystal is, what is the power crystal to? Well, you knew this was coming. The 5 Zords all transform into Megazord. Yes, and they do kind of name it where they're like the Blue Rangers. Oh, this Zord, that Zord. Oh no, wait, Megazord. And now that's its name. So it's kind of an awkward naming ceremony, but it is Megazord, and there is an epic fight in which Rita is defeated, and there is, I will say, comedy in this movie, because she's actually defeated. When she's defeated, she's actually smacked off into space, where in a actually highly disturbing image, where she freezes like a normal human would in space. Interesting. So Goldar melts back down into liquid gold, and the Power Rangers win. Everyone's like, who are these 5 Rangers in these 5 guys, and this amazing mech of theirs? Who are the Power Rangers? And of course, none of the family know that the Power Rangers are their kids, including the father, who is of the Red Ranger, who is suddenly nice to his son, despite the fact he has no clue that the Red Ranger is his son, even though the Red Ranger saved his life in one of the scenes in that battle. Okay. And pretty much in a movie. What ultimately made this movie above average, though, was even though it had a meh first 30 minutes, and the middle kind of got draggy too, and it had a character arc I really don't like to see, of the troubled teens becoming heroes. It's kind of like, especially in this case, it really didn't work, because that's not who the original Power Rangers are. But if I was judging this against the original Power Rangers movie, it would be getting a 2.5 and a not recommend. However, honestly, even if you are a hardcore, die-hard fan of the Power Rangers film, I still think you can get a kick out of this, because it is actually standalone enough that it's not real. I don't think they're trying to do a reboot. I mean, they've got a successful show going on right now, so they don't need a reboot. I think this was just a theatrical release, just like Marvel and DC have television shows, then they have a separate cinematic universe. This could be that sort of thing, where the television show's Power Ranger is separate from the movie, is completely separate from the cinematic universe. Could we see more? I'll be honest, I wouldn't mind seeing more. I mean, there are plenty of other... Don't do a redo of the one with Ivan Ooze, though. Just saying. Oh god, that film. Oh god. But yeah, I mean, we could see more. I would love to see the Green Ranger introduced. I would actually love to see that arc, or even just introduce him as the White Ranger. There could definitely be a 6th Ranger added in to a sequel film, or maybe explain more about this Zordon, since he's so much different than the Zordon from the shows. explain more about these 5 Rangers and what happened to them after the events of this movie. Because this movie really does leave you without an answer. So there's definitely room to move forward. I wish it had been wrapped up a little more in the very end and last minute. I wish that the middle would have gone a little smoothly, and I really wish that the characters weren't so stereotypical teenagers with the stereotypical parents, and it's not a stereotypical movie, so the fact that it had some of the stereotypes, and the fact that Zordon wasn't the Zordon I expected, yeah. That really is my biggest issue. The secrets that were kept. If I had to choose my least favorite character based on character alone, it would be Zordon. Sorry, it would. I actually liked the 5 Rangers, and even though he was in a stereotype, I liked the Red Ranger because his journey ended up really good in the end. So I'm still going to recommend this movie, Power Ranger fan or not, because in fact, if you're not a huge Power Ranger fan, you might actually get even more of a kick out of it because, you know, it's really does do a standalone movie, and you won't have to worry about noticing the differences. Although, if you are a Power Ranger fan, you'll notice a couple of the references, like when Alpha 5 says, "Ay, ay, 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 ay," although he only says it one time in this, which is like, okay. I thought he said it all the time, but I guess not. There are also some very funny, the action sequences are very good in this, I would say. They don't look fake like the TV show. The old seasons, at least, of the TV show. Including that final battle between Megazord, however short it is, and Goldar. And it's funny, there are actually some pretty cool lines in there, like the Blue Ranger says, "Yippee-ki-yay, yippee-ki-yay, mother," and then he stops and he's like, "Oh, I can't say that." Which actually, honestly, he could say that because it's a PG-13 rated movie, so he could have said the F word, couldn't he? Say it was. But I get it, then it wouldn't be a joke. So, nice joke, and there are other jokes like that in here. A couple of quoted lines like that. So the fact that they put a Die Hard line in here. Okay, let's see. Looks like this is going to be a 30-minute review, which means it's actually going to be longer than my 25-minute review. But I feel like this review was actually a lot better. It was more energetic. I talked more per... I put more words per minute. And I think that's pretty much going to do it for me for my review of Power Rangers. It's actually 2:19 a.m., so I gotta get to bed. But the whole idea was that I actually have something to do on Friday night, so I wanted to get this to you tonight. Of course, this will be live now. I've actually recorded this for the first time on... Well, actually, this is technically the second time, because I did do a test recorded for YouTube. The YouTube video I mentioned that's going to go up exclusive to YouTube is doing this, and this is the first time that I've recorded on... Second time that I've recorded on my new computer's webcam. It's only 720p, but hey, what do you expect? And of course, you got it Facebook Live as well. 30 seconds left. Next week, Ghost in the Shell and The Boss Baby. Ghost in the Shell, I loved the anime, saw all of the episodes. I'm going to be very critical of this one. And Boss Baby, I really want it to be good because I'm actually excited to see it. So, let's move the capture video box over here and cut it off. I'll see you in the next review. And for some reason, this one says I still have 20 seconds left until I hit 30 minutes. As I said, to the Facebook. I'll say it to you one more time. I'll see you in the next review. Cinematic Critic signing out.